Hello, everyone. It is Cheryl Millett here. It's a great day on one hand, and it's usually a very interesting and fully packed day on another hand, where things are popping up like crazy. I just wanted to come on here because with this coronavirus that is popping up, more information, more panic, and more fear. So with this coronavirus, or with any virus, whether it's been the SARS or has been any of that, I mean, much of the news is actually not even really told. I mean, some of that they talked about, a number of cases, went on to be investigated further, which they do need more time, to show that they weren't part of it. But the chaos and the craziness and everything is on one hand, we do have to protect ourselves. So viruses, flu, they're forever, colds, all of those symptoms are very similar. To what degree, if they're telling you the full story or not, the idea is these things exist. And even ongoingly, you cannot not benefit from strengthening your immune system and your nervous system. This is very fundamental to any of the stuff going on, whether it's crazy as it is this one that may be more harming than some of the past ones. Of course, there's many people out there that have suppressed immune systems that are being affected, the elderly, and let's say the weak. And a number of, if you think of anybody who has allergies, they already have an immune system that's been compromised. Anybody who's on a medicine in some case, or have an autoimmune disease. But here's the thing: no matter what or where you are with what you have or what you're thinking about, is one, don't panic. Okay, don't panic. As soon as you panic, you put your nervous system in fight or flight, and you have this crazy digestive system that doesn't work as well when you're in that mode. It's crazy. So it's not going to serve any of us. So let's focus on the safety part of it and what we can do. And the crux of the matter is, when we think of viruses, we think of all the stuff that they may be choosing to do to offset it is toxins. So all around us is toxins. If you live in the city like I live in Toronto, I don't want to drink the water, because in and of itself of the water is plenty of toxins, including chlorine, which will outgas over an hour or so and then be gone. But what you're not told about the water is all of the byproducts of the medicines that come into the water. And they do not have the manpower, the science, the money to actually take out all of the medicine byproducts, let's say, in our own city water. So what's fundamental here is know that toxins, when they accumulate in our body, will cause the body to be stressed out. So never mind the mental stress that you're, all the thoughts and stuff that kind of put the stress on the body. Look at it from those both angles. Cleaning products, all these hand sanitizers are actually being, I won't say banned, but when I took food safety last year, they don't recommend it. It's about washing your hands with soap and water for 20 to 30 seconds, getting under the nails, getting around the thumb, those kind of things with just plain old soap, not the soap that has chemicals in it. Any of these fragrances, preservatives, all of these things get into your system and just affect the very, how can I say it, the very strength that your body zaps it of energy, zaps it of strength. And when you have stress and you're reacting upon stress, that will also hold in the toxins. You see, it'll hold in the toxins. So not a good time to be constipated for sure. I mean, that is clearly, or dehydrated, not drinking enough water, because these things, these flows in the body are eliminating the toxins from your body. So the really big key thing here is to avoid toxins and avoid stressing out your body. Alcohol, cigarette smoke. I mean, most people don't know that Health Canada, not Health Canada, yeah, it's on there. I was speaking to Toronto Public Health, is the fact that all smoke, similar to exhaust, similar to burning, wood, a fireplace, all of those things are called combustion. And when you're breathing in those things, they stress out the lungs. If we just look at things as stress and a building up of toxins, it becomes very simple, uncomplicated. That's how we should look at this. Should we still laugh and have fun? Absolutely. Life should not stop when these things are happening. It's about thinking safe, playing safe, not worrying. And yes, getting your sleep or rest. If you can't sleep well, the idea is still to rest the body, not stay up late, don't get up, those kind of things. So all those fundamentals. And get out in the fresh air. Get out in the fresh air. That's the movement that helps the toxins move out. And that's, they talk about the outgassing that's in homes, be it from fabrics and stuff. That's an additional toxins. And also fresh air is outside, not necessarily inside. So those are the fundamental things to remember ongoingly, no matter when there's some things, that are happening or some things that are not happening, is to strengthen your body. And if you do that ongoingly, you're preventing. Because when it comes to things happening in a pinch, even if you were to get into trauma, something of that nature, you are stronger, which is why I think weightlifting or having muscles or building muscles is an important thing, because you are prepared. You are prepared if that door is that much heavier, or if you have to, do anything when it requires strength. So be mindful, though, elite athletes suppress their immune system. And when you have these processed sugars and processed foods, they set up the digestive system to be stressed, mucus forming. So these highly processed foods, from even if it's organic milk, it's pasteurized, they're sterilized food, don't kind of build our system naturally. So this is where we're looking at natural foods, whole foods, and things like that. But I just wanted to come on board because there's absolutely chaos out there, and also not chaos, right? There's both. So we have to see both, and not just kind of take the path of just going down one. There's beauty in the world. There may be ugly in the world too. There are people that are kind, and there are people that are not kind. So we're going to have both of these things going on at once. It's whatever makes you feel good, it raises your vibration, is going to be extremely healthy. But then again, I said, to panic means that you're going to get into worry, and it can consume your thoughts. No different than I was talking about the imagery that we watch. So if we see these images, people, and some of these, because I just posted a news there where, this person is like supposedly dropping dead, maybe from this virus, maybe not, we don't know. But the idea is that imagery comes in and it plays on our minds, and sometimes it sticks there time and time again. And especially in this case, it's definitely ongoing news and reporting here and there and many places, people trying to be very good about thinking about what this is. Is there more to this? Was it man-made? Was it brought out to be a distraction in that community where they're trying to protest to not have the incinerators there? The exact same town, been much protesting there against these incinerators that are polluting the land, the water, the environment around there. And so rightfully so, they're protesting. So is there something to that? There may very well be. And so you're going to kind of, maybe this will overwhelm you. And there are definitely things to do to try to be aware, but yet think aware, as in think safety, but without the fear of the panic, and to do the best you can with strengthening your immune system, strengthening your nervous system. Both things they work, and the whole body works together. And focus on that, focus on that more than anything. If you're sick, then you're going to focus on that. But strengthening the immune system can be done when you're ill, which means you need the rest, right? Don't go to work. You drink plenty of fluids, broths, bone broth. Again, there's these very simple things that we have to understand that strengthen our body. Too much food will bring down the system, will use up way too much energy to digest the food. So just enough food will be very healthy on the body. Because remember, if everything's all energy, your body needs the energy to actually have a stronger immune system if it's fighting things and like that. That's why it's best, as they say, starve a fever, but starve a cold. Don't feed a cold, but starve a fever, starving cold. So if you're going through a lot of stress, your digestive system isn't working well anyway. So if you're not well, then think about that. That'll be the simple things. Just happened with my brother passing and his triplet daughters who are 18. I brought them some very good, quality comes into play here for sure, because much of the food, the artificial sweeteners, all of this stuff kind of comes about, and it adds to the toxins. So a good quality stuff. So I gave them some shake and said, look, you may not feel like eating, and if you just even have a half a shake or full shake. So just seeing them this past Wednesday, they're almost finished it from receiving it on Saturday, one that's 14, meals in it. And they seem bright, it's really helpful for their system, and they're going to bring some more down to them tomorrow. But the idea is those simple foods, easy to digest, will be much appreciated by your body. But again, safety, it's not that you're supposed to ignore it, but getting into panic and getting into worry is going to suppress your immune system, is going to stress out your nervous system, in which they all work together. So I just wanted to come on quickly, kind of talking to that, because quite often people are left in a place where whatever the big headlines are, or whatever they're saying to do, we kind of just will panic, and then we just kind of fall into all of that. So just remember that all of this, anything that's happening, this coronavirus or anything, flu time, cold time, people are around, just because it's out there doesn't mean you're going to get it. I can be a room with all people coughing and stuff and not ever get it. So just because it's out there doesn't mean you're going to get it. And just strengthen your body as much as possible, and understand that, if you're not feeling a little well, then it's time to relax. You just got to put that busy schedule off to the side and take care of yourself, and know that that's the best thing for you. Because if you're too busy, then you're in fight or flight, and that really hinders your ability to digest, be nutritiously sound, and to protect against things, right? So this is, when I think about power over and who is in charge, you could very well hear all kinds of stories, crazy or not, believable or not, and these are where I will say these many stories that can kind of come up, be it polluting the skies with I'll call them chemtrails. Some of them call it other things, but the idea is they're putting chemicals in the sky as they're saying as a protective measurement. But again, it's toxins, people. So you've either got to find a different route entirely, they have to, or it doesn't make complete sense, because toxin chemicals are behind all illnesses and diseases, all of it. And behind that is stress. So the idea of even giving us vaccines with chemicals and medications and drugs with chemicals in it to actually further enhance the toxemia within our body is actually an insane thing. It really is super insane. which is why the sense of all of this is, well, when you take medications and you read if you read the pamphlets, I don't know if you do, you can ask for the little paper, all the serious side effects, and vaccines included. And like all of this is toxins, right? They say it's for your better health, but say we have to protect you. But what most people aren't aware of are these subtle things that actually exist and is truth in science, which is viruses are usually attached to something. And if you can't separate the virus from, let's say, the protein, then what happens is you are susceptible to allergies. You are susceptible to being, autoimmune diseases and certain things like that. Because the most insane thing about vaccines, which needs to be understood, is that they're putting it directly into your bloodstream. Now, if you knew anything about science and medical and certain things that happened in the past, you would be aware of the initial vaccines well over 100 years ago. They would put a little cut in the skin and put these toxins or these viruses, whatever it was. Again, they're toxins, right? So they would put them in, and people died of sepsis. Sepsis is just, let's say, infection in the blood. And if you get the blood infected, then sepsis is very, 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 very serious. It's no different than getting a cut or a wound, and you have exposure to the outside world. And that exposure then, gangrene and different things can set up. And there's different subtle things to understand. It's not this black and white. But this all stems back to toxicity and the toxemia that's being created by the things that we're putting into our body, but then the things that we're exposed to that they say are supposed to be good for us, like these sanitizers. So the sprays, the artificial air fresheners, these crazy things that we think are actually in our favor are not in our favor, not at all. It's building up the toxemia and the toxins in our body. So if you question anything about the increase of diseases and ask that question, why is there more? With all the science, with all that they know, with all the money that they're collecting, why are there such things? Because first of all, they really don't know how the body works. That's number one. If you're going to read this whole section in my book about genetics, and you're going to tune into how that actually works. And genetics is not something you should be putting your money down on. Okay, so if you spend money at the what do they call it, the lottery, those kind of things, your odds are whatever they are, right? It's the odds, and the actual knowing is not there. Things happen. Anything can happen, and that's just about as where they are. I'm not saying there's not good things, but when it comes to the toxemia within the body and how we need to deal with it and how do we strengthen the body is not a pill. It's not a pill. There's not ever going to be a magic bullet. If you think there's going to be a magic bullet, all you're doing is every week you're putting in your dollars into the lottery, or you're entering what I call the gambling arena, be it stock market and different things like that. So if this makes sense to you at all, again, the key things you want to do is avoid toxicity. You want to avoid it, and you want to actually be in a relaxed position where your nervous system is not fight or flight. It's not in that sympathetic mode. So everything's going to work better. So you take care of yourself and your loved ones or your children, the people that you're responsible for, that way. Very simple. You better, eating whole foods and more better quality foods. You're going to see this more and more. It's been out for years probably. Quality is going to be extremely important. The things that nourish us are not the sterile food on the shelf. It is not. It is sterile on the shelf because they needed to be shelf stable for your health. So you can see kind of a little bit of the conundrum. And this is the idea that sometimes we're thinking we're doing something good, but it is not good in the end, in the end. So if we're looking to actually make an impact on the amount of diseases that are out there in the world, then we've got to think differently. And we actually have to apply some very straightforward, simple things. And and it's never to say it's going to be very easy to do in a very short period of time. And then yet it can be very easy because if we get really sick, we're forced to do it, which is not what I wish on anybody here. So the idea is to avoid those things that put stress on our body. Alcohol, again, caffeine, the whites, but not so much, the certain things like sourdough bread. If you're consuming it, there are certain things to think about, but think about all of the juices, all of the pops, chips, any of this fried stuff. I mean, if you had to give up things, you're giving up all the processed vegetable oil, you're giving up all the fried foods, the chips, the sugar foods. If you want sugar, have fruit, have an apple, have some berries. That's the better thing. And again, the second key thing here is don't eat too much food. So when you've kind of shifted over from those unhealthy foods, you're shifting into as well the habits of eating food, which is 2 to 3 meals a day are good enough, especially if you're sedentary and you're not moving as much. And quality is going to be very key, but you'd be surprised just how little you need to survive sort of food. But mostly what people are experiencing is the cravings, the carb cravings, the stress cravings. Let's call it for what it is. So you're busy, you've got homework. I can speak to it firsthand. I have witnessed, observed, and felt, and further observed that play when there's so much to do. It's easy just to grab food and want to grab food and just shove your food, face with food that are quick and easy things. Even those bars, all of the bars that have more sugar. But there's these keto bars out now that are pretty good. But still think there's a lot of chocolate in there, which is stress, and that can be still stressful on the body with it's caffeine-like. But enough about all of that. If any of that you kind of come across thinking about that, but think toxicity and think about stress, lowering stress, all the ways there is to lower stress, which is be less busy and not to panic, right? So your thoughts cause the stress at the end of the day. And that's where you want to, you want to reduce the stress and reduce the toxicity. Those are two key things. It's an ongoing thing. Some of you might be aware. Some of you might go, yeah, I better do it more now, today, for the reasons just because, there's this virus going around. Never hurts. But again, in prevention mode, you're doing this ongoingly. So, hi, Dondra. Hello, everyone. I just kind of had to get that kind of out of my thoughts here. But hello, everyone. Any questions at all? Feel free to put them there. But the idea is there's probably a ton of questions, and can I get through them all reasonably is probably not that easy. But I think that was simply say what you got to do. You're maybe not so quite sure exactly where to start, but you can private message me. I've been doing a 15-minute complimentary consultations just by phone to talk about the different scenarios that people have in their life going on. But I mean, I'm including all the various things, all the various illnesses that are out there, going out there, from fibromyalgia to depression and many things. Just be willing to accept where you are, be willing to learn what you can, and that's probably the thing, reach out, learn, I can't tell you what to learn, what not to learn. There's so much information out there, but do keep it simple, and that'll be a lot better. We know that certain things are the stress on the body. Even if they're healthy, they're going to be a stress on the body. Like, you can eat all organic food, but if you're eating too much, that's going to be a stress on the body, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to end it there. For now, I mean, anybody who's concerned anything about their health, especially when these things come through, like the flus and the viruses, then this video is really good to watch, and to take some notes even, and then to look at what you're doing. Other than that, really, you may have, again, a lot of questions, and I would just formally say, let's talk, let's begin there. But anyway, best of health, everyone. No worries, no panic, just play it safe. So we'll look forward to Live at 5 on Monday, unless anything else kind of comes up and is, shaking our tree out there. And really, there's so much to be said for all of the information that we don't know what is true and what not true. So we just go back to the foundations, love yourself, and take care. Bye for now, everyone.